Welcome to Visions in the Making, where we reveal the story behind the glory. Get ready to be encouraged, inspired, equipped, and challenged as we discuss business and faith. I am your host, Crystal Harkless, and thank you for listening to today's episode. First, let me say I have missed podcasting, and it feels really good to be back in the studio. Normally, I would have a guest speaker with me, but today I really want to speak to you about something that is on my heart. And basically, it's waiting on the vision. And I know that, with the podcast, we talk about visions in the making, where we reveal the story behind the glory, but that whole process of waiting is what I want to focus on today. And so I just want to share something from the heart, especially when it comes to a vision that God has given you. I mean, like real deal vision that is from the Lord. So for me, there is a vision that God gave me of something that He wants me to do several years ago. And I have been waiting on that vision to come to pass. And to be honest with you, waiting for that to happen has probably been one of the most frustrating times of my life. However, I really believe that I have entered a season of manifestation, and I do believe that the vision is very close to being manifested in my life. And so I really wanted to encourage those that may feel like me, where you have been given a glimpse of a vision that God has for your life, and you are waiting and trying to wait patiently for that vision to come to pass. I do believe that we are in a season of answered prayers. I truly believe that with all my heart. And just recently, I received a glimpse of the manifestation of a promise that I've been waiting for some time now. I also received confirmation of that promise through a prophetic word. And I was so excited, but at the same time, I think there was an anxiousness that just started to creep up, because now that I see that this thing is really about to happen, there's a part of me that is just like, I am ready to just run this last mile so I can get to the finish line. And it doesn't quite work that way. And so I had to get to a place where I asked God to help me not to get so anxious to see the end of a thing that I rush through what needs to be done in this last leg of the race. And I know sometimes in life we can get so excited when we see the end and we want to just run ahead of God. But I am here to encourage you and hopefully to help someone that is also going through this frustration or this time of waiting. I'm here to encourage you to wait on the Lord. There is a reason why we have to go through the process. And sometimes when we try to rush things to happen in our timing, on our schedule, we end up messing up what God is trying to do in us to get us ready for what He has for us. And so I just want to share that with someone, that even though you may see it, You probably can even taste it. You can smell it. But I encourage you not to get ahead of God. I encourage you to allow Him to take you through the process, no matter how frustrating it may be. Let Him take you through the process so that you can really be in a place to embrace what He has for you. I want to talk to those that have been at a place where you almost want to give up because the wait has been so long, especially when you've seen others around you that have received what it is that you have been waiting for a long period of time. Do not compare your walk or where God has you right now to where everyone else is. And I know, we hear that a lot, and I know it's like, okay, Krista, I already know that. But I just want to say that again, because sometimes I think we need to be reminded, because when we're looking at what is going on in everyone else's life, it can sometimes cause us to get frustrated with God and then take matters into our own hands and then end up in a situation where we have to beg and plead for God to get us out of it. And so, this is just a time, I think, that we will need to take advantage of just the moments of being still before God and just really allowing Him to just bring peace into our lives, peace into our minds, and keep us into alignment or in alignment with His word and His will. I encourage you to really, in this season, as we get towards the end of this waiting period, because I do believe that there are many that have gone through the wilderness experience. You have been around and around and around the mountain, and finally you are on the edge of the promised land, and you just want to just take off running. But keep in mind that there may be some battles that you may have to fight once you cross over into the promised land. And the last thing you want to do is not be equipped for the battle. So the process is all a part of equipping you for what is to come. And although it may be beautiful and it may be a blessing to finally be able to hold what it is that you have prayed for, begged for, cried for, it's also good to know that you're ready for whatever may come when that blessing comes. And you also have to remember too that we do have an enemy that we have to fight. And a lot of times the battle is all because of what it is that God has for you and what it will do in the lives of others. And so we know that the enemy is not just going to idly stand by and let you walk straight into your blessing without putting up a fight. And we have to be aware of this. We have to be in position to deal with that when it happens. And so that comes through prayer. That comes through reading God's word. That comes through just being in His presence. That comes through fasting. And so I just want to light a fire, really, under some of us, including myself, that we will really take this time to get before God and allow him to do whatever it is that he needs to finish doing in us so that we will be in position to really embrace and receive and celebrate what it is that he has for us. And I will share this too. So I know sometimes with the weight, we want to share whatever it is that God is revealing to us when he starts, confirming things, when, especially when we've been waiting and it seemed like we didn't have any type of answers or glimpses of what was to come. But I want to say that in this season, we also need to be very careful what it is that we share and who we share it with. And I know I am probably saying something that you have heard others say throughout the years, but I'm telling you, I do believe that there is a reason why God has me just saying this right now as a reminder, because death and life really is in the power of the tongue, and not everyone will be excited for you, and not everyone will take that information and do the right thing with it. And so be very prayerful about who you confide in this season. Make sure that they are praying with you and that they are not using the information that you give to them to try to hinder what it is that God is trying to get to you. And we know that, people may try to delay, and they may even be able to delay what it is that you have coming to you, but they can't stop it. But if there's something that we can do to prevent a delay, then I would say let's do it. And part of that is being very careful who it is that you confide in. There are some things that you just need to keep in your belly, keep in your heart, and allow it to mature, allow it to manifest. Sometimes a word spoken too soon can cause more problems than waiting for things to happen on its own. I know for me, just what God has revealed to me this last couple of days is so exciting. I'm happy about it. I can see how it can come together, and I can even see what God was doing during those times that I thought were just, quiet times, a quiet season. But God was working. God was working even then, and now I can see that. And so I'm excited. I want to tell the world, but at the same time, there's that part of me that's like, nope, I'm not going to put it out there just yet. Just hold on to it just a little bit longer, Crystal, because there is still some things that need to happen before I can shout it from the rooftops. And so to my fellow Josephs out there, to my fellow Josephs that the Lord has revealed some dreams, some visions to you, do not be like Joseph and share it with those that will try to kill you, literally, because of that dream or that vision that you shared. And then I encourage you to take a look again at Joseph's story. I believe it starts in Genesis, maybe around Genesis 30, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But just start reading about Joseph's experience. And actually, you know what? It's Genesis 37. I just want to make sure I told you correct. So Genesis 37 is when Joseph has this dream of greatness. And even with his story, I am so encouraged, but then also there's so many tips that we can learn from just his story, his journey. A majority of what he ended up having to go through was because he shared his vision with the wrong people, and it caused jealousy, it caused hatred. But at the same time, because of the glory of God, he still used that. Everything that, Joseph's brothers tried to do to him, God used that to get him to his destiny. And so we're not fearful of what people may do to us because of what we share with them, but we just want to be wise. We want to use wisdom with what we share and who we share it with, because if we can avoid going through some issues, then why not do it? So I hope that encourages you. I look forward to being able to hopefully share more with you soon about what God is doing, because after all, this is Visions in the Making, where we reveal the story behind the glory. And I have shared everyone else's testimony and story of how they got to where they are right now. And so maybe, it's time for me to share my story, or it will be time for me to share my story soon. But until then, I will leave it at this. And I hope that it has encouraged you. I look forward to being able to come back to you with another episode of, I believe, what God is revealing in this season, and he would have me to share with you. And then, of course, I look forward to being able to bring some more people to the studio that can share their story with you. The whole idea behind Visions in the Making truly was to be able to encourage people with testimonies. Sometimes when you have a vision or God gives you a dream, it seems so impossible. And especially when you're trying for years to get it off the ground, and you deal with failures, and you deal with people walking away, or you deal with things just not working out the way that you thought they would work out. It is so encouraging to be able to hear someone else's story, especially when they have maybe gone through something similar. And it just fuels you a little bit, gives you that fuel that you need to keep going, to keep believing, to stay encouraged, to stay inspired. And that's the whole idea behind Visions in the Making. And so until next time, I am your host, Crystal Harkless. Have a great night or day, depending on where you're at. Take care.